Obviously, for the past 2 years, Disney's been involved in a war here in the state of Florida, and it's one of their own making. They were the ones who, I think it was around 2 years ago, when Bob Chapek decided, then CEO Bob Chapek decided to give in all the pressure, not only from Bob Iger, but also from activists at the company, and make the statement that Disney is inherently political. This family-friendly company decided that was where they were going to put their flag in the ground and say, hey, you know what? All you families out there with kids, we think that teachers should be able to sexualize kindergartners. That's what we as a company, as Disney, believe, and we're going to fight for it. That fight did not go well for them. They lost all their special privileges in the state of Florida. They sued Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida to try to desperately get their power back. They tried some last-minute bullshit renegotiation, new contract that everybody in the media claimed was going to work. Well, here we are, 2 years later. None of that has worked. And Disney officially has dropped all of their lawsuits against Florida as part of a settlement. Florida's dropping any countersuits that they had against Disney at that time. But as part of it, they are admitting that what they tried to do is completely null and void. At the end, when they were trying to get the last minute changes in the Reedy Creek Improvement District, all of that is null and void. It was all illegal. It was never going to hold up in court. And they were forced to admit that as part of this settlement.
This is the definition of a fuck around, find out scenario. Disney has had this luxury forever. And to be fair, they've kind of like, I don't know if the right word is earned it, but
Disney, them being here has been a massive thing for Florida over the course of the last 70 years or whatever.
Yes. And I think that's the point I want to make people understand is, like, for those that are not from the area or have been to the area, there's no way to properly explain the importance of what Walt Disney World has done for Central Florida and Orlando tourism. It's impossible. It's so massive. The amount of jobs and revenue and attention that Disney, since 1971 when it was opened, has brought to Florida, it's crazy. And for all of those decades, it was perfectly fine. It wasn't until the last, I don't know, several years where Disney's decided to get in this political game, and their arrogance is really what caused all of this, because you decided to interject yourself into political policy, and then you misrepresented what's the official title for the parental
the Parental Rights and Education Bill.
Yeah, and they by the company called it the Don't Say Gay bill, just like the mainstream media ran with that. They interjected themselves into that while they were getting all of these passes. And so Ron DeSantis rightfully said, well, if you're going to fucking start running your mouth and try to get involved in policy decisions, then we're going to revoke all of these special privileges you have. And they deserve it. They deserve it because they, as a company, it's not their position to try to get into policy. Why would you do that? Why would you involve yourself in that? So they fucked around and they found out. And I'm glad that happened to them.
I think a lot of the timing is probably focused on the fact that this big shareholders meeting is coming up. I think they're probably going to try to make some fucking big announcement that they're going to do some either new park expansion, like something, something involving the parks here in the state of Florida. And they probably want to be past that so they can actually negotiate going forward with it. That's what I think the timing was. They finally realized that it was done. Obviously, we're not experts on that shit. Legal Mindset's been talking about this for a long, long time. So go check out his. I'm sure he did a recap video once this finally hit, because he's been talking about them not having a leg to stand on for 2 years at this point.
I'm happy that this has happened. I'm glad that it backfired on Disney, and maybe they'll learn to keep their mouths shut about things that they have no business talking about. But I'm glad DeSantis did this, and I'm glad he came out with the win.